I'll tell you a story about me when I was ordained. And I knew that it was something that was should happen for me. But Reverend John Schroyer, when I became involved with Christian Family Fellowship, approached me and said, John, would you like me to ordain you? And I looked at John Schroyer and I was sort of surprised, although I knew it was coming. And I have to tell you a little bit about myself. I was severely bullied in school for all the way from kindergarten through junior high school and into high school until I grew up. And then I was 6 feet tall and they didn't want to mess with me anymore. But it was terrible. My life was hell the moment I stepped on the school bus. And then after I got off of the school bus in the afternoon, then I was away from it. And so it affected me. I had no friends in school. I missed out on all the social interactions that kids have. And it affected me. Um, it propelled me towards my scientific mind because I could trust math and science. It wouldn't hurt me. I read most of the books in the elementary school library, and I liked the thick ones, not the ones with the pictures in them. I read the books about the biographies of Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and all of those people. So they were my friends. And so when I graduated from high school, 3 days after I graduated, I left all those people because I was a young man full of hatred and revenge. I was terrible. I had bad dreams about what I would do. I mean, had Columbine in Colorado happened while I was in school, I bet I would have imitated it. I was that angry. And so I was never witness to. I crashed a fellowship thinking it was a drug party. And I, rang the doorbell and a girl's voice answered. And I said, hey, can I come up? And she goes, yeah, you can come up. And I said, wow, that's great, great sign. I got up to the top of the steps and I looked over and I saw the two most beautiful women that I'd ever seen in my entire life. One of them was Naomi Bliss Townsend. If you know her, she's a beautiful woman with long, straight black hair, beautiful complexion. And then also there was another woman from California. Her name was Jo Belt. She was a beautiful California girl, blonde hair, rosy cheeks, just beautiful. But they looked to me like they almost were angels because they were so serene and so wise. It was like almost they had halos on. I swear. And I looked over and I saw them and I was stunned by how beautiful they were. And then the third woman that was there, Kathy Ralston was her name. She didn't introduce herself. She just started speaking by revelation to me. She prophesied to me at the top of the steps, just boom, like that. And so she told me God will do A, B, and C for me. And A, B, and C were things that I had agonized over for years. And then they handed me a Bible. They said, this is a Bible fellowship. And I sat down and they taught me Ephesians and Colossians, things I'd never, ever heard. And my roommate from school, college, we lived in the duplex down below where this apartment was. And so that's how we heard the commotion upstairs. And so he had come up too. And I found myself after the fellowship witnessing to him, telling him the things I just learned, trying to convince him of Christianity. And after that, every single fellowship that I could go to within a 50-mile radius, I went every night. So I was one of those people that cleave to the word. And I experienced genuine Christian love, and it changed me. It changed me from being full of vengeance and anger and all of that, because I could go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds if I wanted to get angry. And so anyway, when John Schroyer offered me ordination, I thought to myself, well, if I become ordained, then I'm going to have to toe the company line. And the company line is love your enemies and pray for them that despitefully use you. And I couldn't do that yet. I still was relieved from Mr. Rage. I knew Mr. Rage personally, but Mr. Rage was no longer my companion. But anyway, I told John, I'm not ready yet. I'll be ready soon, but I still have some crust on me I got to get off. And so I said to myself, I've got to learn what loving your enemies is and praying for them that despitefully use you is. So I had to dive rather deeply into the word to understand that. And then finally, when I did understand that, then I was ready to accept ordination, because ordination is a wonderful thing. It makes you into a gift to the church. And so you need to act like a gift. You need to think like that. All right. And I wasn't ready, and then I was ready. Okay. And an ordination does not add anything spiritually to you. All right. It is a recognition what you already have. Every one of you has a ministry in the body, one of the 14 at least, and usually you'll have several. And so you'll have a primary, you'll have a secondary, you'll have a tertiary ministry. And they change if you move to a different area. Like I taught last year, you have you have what you have, then you have how you operate with other believers, right? And then you have the extent of it, how far God takes you with it. So, and those things can change as you grow, as you move, as you interact with other believers. But those who are ordained, it is an ordination, a recognition for the body to know about you, that you have a gift, and also that gift is already hot. It's already active. You don't get anything extra when you get ordained. All right. It's a recognition of what you already have. And see, also, it's not a competition. Ordained ministers do not get more rewards than people who are not ordained. You can earn as many rewards as the others can. Just do your ministry. Every one of you has one. And when you find out what it is and do it, it's the greatest joy in the world. And so people who are ordained, they know what their ministry is. They've operated it. And so what the ordination does is it gives them more access so that their gift has a greater influence. So you can go into hospitals and prisons when you have that title, right? But also you have access to people's hearts. Because if you have that prefix before your name, you ought to be worthy of their trust. You ought to be on your best behavior and be a gift to them and serve them. That's what you are for. You're a gift to the church. And so when people have that title, people come up to you and they tell you the most terrible things. They share with you things that they would never share with anyone else. And they trust you with that. Okay. But because you have that access, then you can utilize your gift to bless them, to deliver them, to heal them. They came to you for that. And so that energizes. So the ordination puts you in a situation where your gift, your ministry has more access. You see what I mean? And then another thing that it is good for, like what I mentioned with me, is it gives you something to live up to. If you are a minister, then there are certain things that you can't do anymore. Okay? Because they're unbecoming of the title. And of course, we don't like to get tempted and we don't like to give in to it because it's always a trick. You know what I mean? Always it seems like the reward is going to be a far more than what it turns out to be, right? Plus, we get in trouble about it. So why give in to the temptation? But still, it's difficult, right? When you are confronted in situations with temptations, especially that good old one that it's the thing which so easily besets us, whatever that might be. And being ordained and having that title is like extra armor against that mentally, because I can't do that. I represent God. And it helps me stand against those temptations. And that's a funny way of thinking about it, but that's what it does. So those who are ordained, like Jesus said, and I'm going to teach today, their faces are on every post office in hell, wanted, dead or alive, because now they're marked. We stand for God. But on the other hand, remember Elijah and Elisha? Elisha got a double portion of what was on Elijah. And one time in the morning, they were in a city, and the city was surrounded by an army. And the servant of Elisha went out to go to the bathroom. They would go outside the city, go to the bathroom. And he got whatever he had to do scared out of him because he saw the army there. Oh no, what are we going to do? And so he went back into town and told Elisha, and Elisha said, those that are with us are greater than those that are with them. Lord opened this man's eyes, and what did he see? Do you remember? Chariots of fire around the man of God. So in response to your face being on every post office wall in hell, you have angels around you with chariots of fire. So if you have that title, stand. Don't be afraid of anything. Okay? Because what really makes your ministry act is when you're bold about it, right? So when you see the opportunity, strike when the iron is hot. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't be afraid. So that's what I have to share.